Why is it always broken? Episode 4. Because it's always broken and it's Friday and it's fucking cold, changing out the piggyback. Shove that back together real quick, we should be good. Okay, that's on. For the piggyback, you just want to unclamp that and that, take the airlines off, and then put the airlines back to where they went. Shove it back in, put the diaphragm, shove it back in, line it up, put the clamps on. When you put the brake in, the cage bolt when you push the button in, the cage bolt should get loose. Mine was super tight, so it was 2 turns with a nut. Pulled that out, then adjusted the brake. Good to go, piggyback installed. Now I'm just gonna pull forward and backwards real good, and now I'm gonna go get loaded for my delivery on Monday. So it should be good. I can't see anything that went wrong with the diaphragm. So I think it's a good thing that we didn't just change the diaphragm. I think something internally is leaking. These come sealed, but there's a big spring in there, and that could kill you if it does have a clamp on there. Don't take it off the top side. That's for the parking brake spring. That cap and the spring could shoot out of there and take your head off. This was always broken. So this had wood handles, and the one side was snapped, and the other side just turned to dust when you touched it. The other tire is dry rotted, and I went to fill it up, and the valve stem ripped right off of it. So that's a run flat. It's from Harbor Freight. It's like solid foam filled or something like that. Steel, could always weld that. Nice handles. That's fixed. It's no longer broken. So why it's always broken is these shitty vents on these trucks. They rattle. I just pulled this one out. You can see it's all broken. This was one of the nicer ones, but it fucking rattles as well. So garbage. You could just snap these things right out of here. Like the other side, this is missing a faceplate. They're just junk. It's terrible to look at. So I'm not going to return these, even if they're wrong. They're cheap enough. But the problem with them is that's half the reason I want to change them. The other vents rattle. I don't really care if they do this, but that rattling has got to go. This piece moves. I can't, the whole truck rattles, and if you just hear that all day long, it'll drive you nuts. So, Gorilla Glue, and then this will help set it up. This will take like regular super glue and dry it instantly. Fixed updated vents. I had to glue the back sides of them so they didn't rattle, and it looks good, so that's fixed. Here's one more thing fixed that was broken. This valve here, it's the governor, which is this. And if you can see this right here, this is how you start it. It relieves the pressure from the compressor. So you could start it, and it was always hard to start. And with that broken, it would just idle up as high as it could, and it would just ride the blow-offs. So it would just full air pressure to 160. These would drop down, and then I replaced it with cheaper ones that were lower pressure, thinking that was going to fix it. And then these never closed, so you had to manually close them. So then I found out what this is and how it works, and replaced it. And now it will full pressure to 140. After you start it, you flip this back closed like that. You go from that to that, and then it'll go full to 140, and then it'll turn back on at 100, and then go back to 140 when you're using the tool. But now it'll hold pressure. It won't hit the blow-offs. These are just for emergency. So if you have a problem, you should probably fix that. That was like $100, and then I added these quick turn drains. So this is junk. This has been broken since I've had it, so now it's fixed. It's easier to start. I added this in another video, the electric start. So now I could use this. There's been a couple times where I've needed it and it wouldn't start, where you have to open the drains. The old ones were turns, but they're always stuck. You had to stick a vice grip on there, and then I stuck an air fitting on the hose to drain it. And then every time you're cranking it, it was still building pressure, and it was stalling the compressor out because of the air pressure in here. It was turning the pump. It was always a nightmare, so much happier with this already. And we're gonna keep going with it. This compressor would always start when it was warm outside, but as you can tell, it's not always warm here. So that's been broken since I put it on the truck in the summer. It's always worked good in the summer, but the colder months, since like October, November, it's been a pain in the ass to start and use. So this should be helping me out in the future here. Quick turn valves are a good investment. These things suck. You can never spin them. You always need a vice grip. And that's why tanks don't get drained. So I put a quick drain on every compressor I have. There's the compressor at the house has it. So it's a good investment as well. Because it's always broken. I just had to change my radio. This is the Walmart unit. It's one of these. They're not bad. I've had like 5 or 6 of these. This is one of the earlier ones I've gotten. And I hit a bump the other day on the highway, lovely New Jersey. And this just became static and would not play anymore. And I'm like, well, every speaker is playing a little bit, but they're all static. It can't be a wiring issue. I'd have to run all new wires. Radios are very simple. This is the new pigtail. And I'm like, well, what the hell's the issue here? So I just went to Walmart. These used to be $20. They're now $35. They're pretty decent for $35. You could tell, I think they're made a little bit cheaper. I have to tighten that. The face seems like a shittier plastic. But they're half the size, so you have to change out the bracket inside there. And now I got a radio again. And I'd play it, but, you know, copyright and this, that, the other thing. So this is now garbage. I'm probably going to throw that out too, because the new radio is half the size and doesn't clip into this thing. And throw it out with the rest of the garbage. So that's one other thing fixed. It's always broken. This is bullshit. They can't make a better fucking sticker. 50 fucking $5 a piece. This one still looks like shit. Changed them both. This one's gonna be a spare, but it's starting to get chewed up pretty good. That's fixed. Nice and tight. I should get rid of the hood rattle too. You know what my favorite thing about living in Pennsylvania is? When your shock mount rips right off your fucking frame. That's lovely. I just love that for me. Great. Back again. Why is it always broken? Don't mind those booger welds. This whole downpipe is cracked. Oh, the sun's really not working in my favor right now. It's not the biggest problem, but it is a problem. Well, it's a pretty decent sized exhaust leak. I could smell it. And probably got a new adapter flange, a couple 90s. I had that 5-inch and I got some flex. We're gonna start running it different. You can see how terrible this exhaust is. Neck's down to 4-inch on a 12-liter motor. That's not good. So we're gonna carve this out of here. The exhaust is kind of working out here. I cut the flex pipe a little shorter than I wanted to. It's still in there like 2 or 3 inches, but it's fine. I would have liked it like another inch on, another inch the other way. I just got to clock it and run another piece here. I'm almost thinking flex would be easier, but I'd rather not. Let's back up here. This would be fairly simple if this truck wasn't worked on in its previous life by inner city retard shops. This coolant line needs to get shortened and routed. It was down there running with this coolant line, and then these diesel lines were running up that way, and now I'm gonna have to disconnect them back there and run them down the other side. That would just make more sense. Why would you put it on this side when it's in the middle of the truck and you could easily just go to where it needs to go? And then this hose here, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with that yet, because it probably will burn up. So let me continue. All right, this is all tight. I got this line out of the way. Those coolant lines are out of the way. Return line. I had to get a new fitting here. Left the lines long because these tanks are gonna move, but that should fix it. Doing a few maintenance items on my truck, and I had another problem with these stupid fucking fenders by Hoagbuilt. Stop buying these things, they're junk. Look how floppy that is. I just ground it down, I'm gonna have to weld it again. This had to get welded twice. And I just keep bird turning them on there, packing it on real tight. Got the elbow clearance, the elbow around the cooler. That should be it. Next thing to do, start it up, see if there's any leaks, tighten them, fix any leaks, and then paint the exhaust. It makes it really hard for the DOT to find an exhaust leak and soot on a black exhaust. So that's a little tip. So that should be fixed. This is a perfect, great, why is it always broken? So flip this camera. I don't know why it's always broken, but it always is. So this truck had a problem the other night, and we fixed it, or I fixed it. And I picked the truck up and it wouldn't go over. It sat for a couple days. I dropped my tractor trailer off and it wouldn't fucking run. Well, it ran, but it wouldn't go over 25 miles an hour. And then I was getting back on the highway to get here, and it went pop, 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 and it picked up speed. And I thought maybe, I didn't want to bring it home, so I brought it here. And I thought maybe the fuel pump was going bad, and I didn't want the fuel pump to go out the rest of the way. It just felt like there was no power, no fuel. So I put the scanner on it, and it went O2 sensor, bank 1, sensor 1 code. O2 sensor, bank 2, sensor 2, which I knew about. I had the sensor right there, sitting there, but the bank 2 sensor will not have caused a problem. It had bank 1 and bank 2, two separate codes for lean conditions and a multiple engine misfire code. I think that's P0300. I thought I had some O2 sensors in this bucket over here, which they used to be, a couple of them. I don't know where they went. So I just pulled this sensor out. This was the front one. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll get one of those in the morning. Parts store just had closed. So I did that. That actually fixed the truck, but while I was there overnight, it was like midnight. And I was like, screw it, I'm going to change that rear O2 sensor. I'm going to get rid of all the fucking codes. I'm just going to be done with this problem. Because the bank 2 sensor came up. Well, this is the bank 2 sensor. This came out on my trip. And it was sputtering overnight, and I felt weird. And that's why I did plugs and stuff like that. And it still had a little sputter to it. And I think it was the bank 1 sensor the whole time, like faulting out. But it only threw a bank 2 code. And I couldn't get it the fuck out. And I have the proper tools. I have sensor sockets. I have a whole kit. I have more sockets in here. I have all the right tools to do this. But nothing would get it out. And if you ever wondered why the Germans were able to take over most of Europe, it's because they invent stuff. They're very innovative, apparently. These fucking things, they're not the longest ones. I'm ordering the bigger ones after this, because they are pretty kick-ass, and that's the only thing that was able to claw that out of there. I put my foot up on the frame, and I just reefed it, and it came out. Swapped the bank 2 sensor, and then the morning I got a sensor, fixed that, cleared the codes. Truck runs great. I wanted to drive this truck because that one's broken. Here's a big-ass cross member. They sell these cross members, which is identical to this truck. And I noticed yesterday at the gas station that it has the same problem as the other truck. The rear shock's not connected. Brand new shock. It's got a little bit of overspray on it because it painted the frame. But ripped off the cross member. It was already on my mind because that truck has this heavy-duty cross member, and it's the only company that sells this kit. That's what a shock mounts to. And this is a riveted cross member. It's for the HD trucks. This is $500. Only company that makes this is Auto Rust Company. and I gotta do a whole bunch of work to do that. But this one seems like it might be easier to fix, so I'm gonna tear it apart and see what happened to it. If I can't buzz it back together or something like that. But both trucks, same problem, 2 different ways to fix it. Why is it broken? Alright, so the shock's connected again. I just cut out these brackets out of some flat stock and just buzzed the hell out of it. So that's one repair. I'm just back here trying to fart some shit together on another rust repair. But I just got some angle iron work in here. This metal is so bad and got so much crap on there, just popping. I'm just gonna take some flat stock, weld it to this angle here because that's good metal, and then just rivet it or bolt it in, and that'll be that. And then we're gonna get onto that truck next. All right, this truck's done. Threw a couple bolts in that flat plate into the good metal. Welded that angle iron right there. Shocks in there. Looks good. So this one's fixed. On to the next. Okay, truck number 2. It doesn't fit in the garage. That's how close I am to losing my shit. Look how fucking gross this is. Good thing I got the other cross member. Alright, so this thing was less than a year old, so I need another one of those now. And that's the cross member. I think the best bet is to sawzall this thing out of here and then try to find the rivets for it. Just that nothing is good. So there's a rivet there. I guess that's one there. There. That's gonna be one. I just gotta dissect this whole truck. This bumper's gonna have to come off. I can't do that by myself. Trailer hitch is probably gonna have to come off. This is great. Alright, been in here, got all the cross member out, all the rivets. I started rusty metal priming everything. I wire wheeled it. It is so rusty and scaly. Alright, we got the wires out of the way, and we're gonna slide that cross member in now. This is the old cable. I ended up cutting it because this new one came with a foot that's way too small, and the ends was crimped, so I needed to come up with a solution. I have this ferrule and stuff, but if you look at this, that will almost fall out of the rim. So now I need to modify this and then throw it on my truck. Okay, so the cross member is in here, and the only thing I didn't like is I had to weld the exhaust hanger on there. Oh, the lighting is shit. Bolted right in, slid right in. Then I had a buddy help me. We slid the bumper on, the hitch on, shock lined up perfect, and then I've just painted everything. It's a nice heavy cross member. I don't think it's going anywhere, so I'm gonna get the spare tire back up there. Another problem is when that section broke, sent the shock up, broke my rear camera, the AV like fiber optic cable. I can't fix it, so now I have to run a whole new wire front to back and come with a new camera. So gotta throw that in. This 4-way plug here, the top one had a couple pins that were green, and I couldn't diagnose why the backup camera wasn't coming on and the taillights weren't on. Taillights working. The camera's not bad. That's what you get for a $20 unit. But I think the other one had more of a fisheye look, the old one. This one is way more close. But that's one thing cross off the list. I think this truck's done. Post-trip inspection. Oh, what's this? The fender I welded the other day, right here. And it wasn't cracked right there. And it only went on 2 runs. About 400 miles. About to fall off. Build. Garbage.
Band-aid this junk back together. Some old exhaust pipe.